Okay, we're going to start talking about how to make a section view of an assembly. We're going to take the two parts that you've assembled. This is going to be part B, part A, and we're going to talk about how to put these together in an assembly file, how to lay them out, and then do a section view of an assembly. To do that, what we're going to do is I'm going to come back and look at my two parts. This is one of my parts. This is the second part, and these two have been modeled. In order to take these into an assembly file, I'm going to go ahead and grab the big File button. I'm going to come down to the word New, slide over and come down to the assembly file. Once I select the assembly file, I'm going to then be able to go in and select my parts by grabbing whatever is here. It could say Place, could say Place from Content Center. I'm going to click and pull down so I actually get to Place. Place is the standard dialog for going in and finding files on the server or in your text space. So once that comes up, we need to go into wherever you have your files saved. They should be saved on the TechEd server. And I'll go in and I need to find my files here. It's not there. So I find the files, I'm going to select part A and hit open. Part A comes in. I'm going to just click in my file to drop part A. And I'm done, so I hit escape. I'll go back and grab Place again to go find part B. Once I find part B, I hit OK, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that into the file and hit escape. Now, in order to go ahead and insert this part into this part, I'm going to actually use a tool called the Insert tool. In order to make this work and work in a seamless functioning way, what you do not want to do is use your free movement or free rotation. Reason being, when these come in, these parts are actually still set to the work planes that they were designed in, and everything comes into the assembly utilizing those same work planes. So if I go ahead and turn the visibility on for my work planes, you can see that these parts are in relation to a work plane. If you start spinning these around, you then need to be able to align them with more work planes or more features. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my constraint tool from my relationship toolbar, and I'm going to then select the Insert tool. I'm going to utilize the Insert tool because I'm actually going to take and put a shaft into a hole, and I'm going to then utilize the edge of the shaft where it's supposed to touch the edge of the hole for the depth information. So I'm going to grab the Insert tool. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this particular shaft. Now, if I mouse over and I see that this end highlights in white, that's going to be the depth. If I come back to this side and this end highlights, that's going to be the depth insert. And that's where it's actually going to be put together. So I'm going to go ahead and select that part. And then I'm going to go ahead and find the center axis. And then I'm going to grab this particular feature on the inside, not utilizing the outside edge, but this inside edge. Once I select that, my preview is showing me that it's going to go ahead and it's going to place it directly into the hole. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. And the thing that I want to show you next is by zooming in, you can actually see that there is space around the edge of the block area to the square area. And it's going to have space on all sides, knowing that this thing has been centered perfectly. So now that is complete. So the simple insert constraint works very well with putting this part together. I can go ahead and do a file. I can do a save as, and then save this back to my TechEd server space, and then I now have a saved assembly. And I would save it as assembly A plus B, or whatever the part names will become later. Save those as the assembly and the parts themselves. After the assembly portion is complete, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start laying this out. So I'm going to go and grab my base view. I'm going to go, there's my fully assembled part. I'm going to turn this thing around. And the assembly is actually going to be set up to be one-to-one. But what I want to set up first is not the side view, but I'm going to want to get the view from this side here, because this is the side that I'm going to section. So you got to think about, well, what am I going to section and what views do I actually want? So this is the view that I'm going to have here, I'm going to want. So, and if I have any hidden lines, I want those turned on because this is a standard view. So I'll go ahead and, whoops, Okay, now I have my assembled view here. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and select my view, select my section tool, and then mouse over the center, come up, come about a 1/4 inch off the edge of my part. Same, right click, continue. And now I'm going to come over and I'm going to go ahead and place this set 1:1 at a full section depth, dropping the part. You can see it's running off the page, so I'm going to go ahead and employ my long break. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my long break tool, grab the view, and then go ahead and grab what I'm going to actually break off. And now I have a long break set up. So I'll take and just drag this back onto my sheet. Some things that I want to make you aware of and take note of. That Inventor does a very nice job setting up your section lines. Your section lines need to be in opposition to each other. So if one is running at a 45 degree, the other should be running at an opposite 45 degree. So it's very important that that's happening. Make sure that that is ensured. If I zoom in very closely, Inventor also has that gap being shown. And if I were to go ahead and measure that particular gap from point to point, I should have that tolerance that I'm looking for. But this just says 0, 0. So what I'm going to have to do is then I need to get into the actual dimension, get into the precision information here for that particular text, and then I need to go ahead and change that. Set that up. So now it's just saying it's 0.3, but however, we're going to have to go and get even more precision. So we're going to go down to another decimal place, and now you can see that there's my 0.0025, and the other side would be 0.0025 as well, giving me a total difference between the two parts of 0.005. So again, we have to set up that precision by double-clicking, going into precision and tolerance, and then coming down and setting up the primary unit to have 4 decimal places. Okay, so that's going to be key to doing that. Any of the views that you need to have 4 decimal places, you can go ahead and do that too to change that. Okay.